Welcome to the Gabriel Method Expert Interview Series. I'm John Gabriel, author and creator of the Gabriel Method, a diet-free approach to sustained weight loss. And I'm very pleased today to be joined by Tom Cronin, founder of the Stillness Project, who will be teaching us about the benefits of meditation. After a 26-year career as a high-stress finance broker, Tom found himself in a state of chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and even developed agoraphobia to the point where he couldn't leave his house. He was so stressed out. And out of desperation, he found meditation. Meditation went on to completely change his life, and now he's sharing his message with the world. Tom's taught thousands of people to meditate. He's hosted numerous retreats. He's been on national TV, and he's now producing a feature film called The Stillness Project. Tom's vision? To inspire 1 billion people to meditate daily. An exciting vision which I support wholeheartedly. So as you're listening today, you can learn more about Tom and the work he's doing at thestillnessproject.com. So Tom, thanks so much for joining us. So you've stated that you went from a finance broker, like living a fast life, drinking, doing drugs, suffering from anxiety and depression, to basically being a man on a mission to teach the world to meditate. I'm wondering if you can tell me a bit about your experience and how you came to meditation and why you found it so beneficial.
Yeah, look, I mean, exactly that. I was in finance. It was fast. It was frenetic. We're doing a lot of crazy things. On the day job, we were just on a massive trading room floor yelling and screaming all day. It was like split-second decisions, and our nervous system was having to process so much information every day. It was just like hundreds of different prices and squawk boxes and traders and orders to fulfill all the time. And so you had to move so quickly to process that information. And then at the end of the day, what we should have been doing was winding down our nervous system and going into a deep state of relaxation. But of course, that was the last thing we felt like doing. We felt like continuing on with that adrenaline hit. So we would go out to the bars and the nightclubs and the expensive restaurants, and we were doing all sorts of, crazy, exorbitant amounts of drinking and drugs as well. And so you had this compounding effect where your body never got a chance to go into parasympathetic nervous system state, which is that rest and repair type situation. And this compounding effect of overstimulation day and night eventually led to a snapping point where my body just said, dude, that's enough. Like, we can't take this anymore. Interestingly enough, along the way, you keep getting these signals that something needs to change. And we're always getting signals, whether it's colds and flus or anxiety or insomnia or there's so many different cues and signals that our body's constantly giving us. Classic example, having a hangover after drinking alcohol, a classic symptom of your body saying, you know what, I kind of don't like this. It's really not working for me. We just generally ignore those cues, and I was ignoring them for quite a long time, things like insomnia and anxiety, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And eventually it just snapped where I had like a meltdown, a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
And so, from that point, I had to find another alternative to what I was doing.
I was a broker on Wall Street.
Yeah, right.
During the whole time that I was gaining weight, and for me, I wasn't a drinker and I wasn't doing drugs, but for me, it was more about food. That's how I would calm down. But you come back at the end of the day, and you're just so out and you're so frazzled. And for me, it was really that food was what I used to escape, to calm down, to get into that, to find a pleasurable state. And
Sure.
Obviously that was a disaster for me in a completely different way. But I very much identify with your experiences. So how did you come to find meditation and the type of meditation that you're doing?
Yeah, I developed agoraphobia, which is this inability to leave the house. So I had to quit my job. I had such extreme panic attacks, depression and anxiety, that I just couldn't face the idea of going into the office. I couldn't face the idea of going on public transport. And, this was back in 1996. And in 1996, when you couldn't leave the house, it's not like we had internet and iPads and iPhones to keep us entertained. So I was watching a lot of TV. And I remember seeing a story on a guy here that was a big property developer. And part of that story was he was a meditator. And they showed him meditating, sitting in a chair. And I was like, oh, my God, that looks amazing. So the next step then is you can't Google meditation Bondi or Sydney. You had to go to the telephone directory, which is a big book that you had on the floor.
In the good old days,
out, and all the young crowd watching this wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And you had to go through the pages to find M for meditation, yellow pages, and
Yeah.
eventually look up people in my local area that were offering meditation classes. And I rang them all up. With young kids watch this, you won't remember there was a phone that was attached to a wall.
With that little curly thing, that cord,
Yes,
yeah.
really curly
Yeah,
cable.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, I had to ring up all these different centers, and I went to all the different centers, and some of them were just kind of not cutting it for me. They were just, not that there was anything wrong with them, but they just, Tibetan bowls and chakra clearing and crystals and stuff like that. They were all really good, but I kind of felt like I wanted something that was harder hitting, that was going to kind of really get it. And this one that I came across was taught by a neuroscientist. It was supported by, 800 independent studies by Berkeley University and Stanford University Medical School and hospitals. And it was accepted by an insurance company in America. They gave a discount on a premium if you practice this. And it was just so grounded and practical that I really resonated with it. So for me, it was life-changing. Within the first few weeks, I noticed significant changes. Even in the first week, I started to notice changes. It was so profound and so deep and so effective that, I was just drawn to it really quickly.
So did you then develop like a daily meditation practice?
Yeah, without doubt. So what happened was I got a mantra. You would go through a process of 4 consecutive sessions where you learn how to meditate using that sound, that mantra. There was ongoing support on a weekly basis, but the technique itself, they recommended that you meditate 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And because I was in such a state of need, it was absolutely unconditional for me. It was just like, okay, I'm all in on this, and this is what I'm going to do. So it became an unconditional part of my day.
Yeah, yeah. And so what started to happen? What type of benefits did you start to feel? The fears, the agoraphobia, all these things, did they start to dissipate, or?
Yeah, look, it's important. I think people understand that the first week and a half was just hell for me.
Yeah.
And I get this with students now. I had a student the other day, I taught them in the second session, they were bawling their eyes out.
Yeah.
It's really important people understand that the first experience that some meditators get can be an upheaval, as what your body's doing is it's releasing and purging all these anomalies and these toxins, these emotional toxins of fear and sadness and anger and, all the stresses that are stored in your body. The body's actually saying, well, for you to get back to balance, you have to remove the things that are imbalance. And so your body starts to throw them off. And it's really important. That's what we teach, is we give a lot of support in those early days and ongoing, because meditation isn't actually about getting something that you're not. It's about removing what's in you that's not you. Yeah. What you already are is calm and peaceful and happy and light and joyful. And we've just got to get rid of the things that aren't that you've acquired or accumulated in order to become absorbed within you through your life experiences. And that cleansing process can be a bit challenging. So the first couple of weeks I felt agitated. I felt a lot of fear. I felt unsettled and ungrounded. And one thing that I did notice significantly, which was the biggest shift, that I started sleeping really well. Like I was knocked out. The first 2 weeks I was exhausted because my body had turned off that adrenaline pump, and all the cortisol and norepinephrine and adrenaline was no longer pumping through my system. So fatigue coming up and sleeping really heavily was the first thing that I really noticed, which was great.
So after the first couple of weeks, did that start to go away and you start to develop more energy, or what happened after that?
Yeah, after the first few weeks, that upheaval sort of process eased out. It started to become a little bit calmer. And I really started to feel like a lightness, and the anxiety and the waves of heaviness and depression and misery sort of started to lift. So I went back to work within sort of, I think, about 3 weeks, and started to find that I could integrate a whole lot better. And it was quite amazing how quickly things started to change.
Yeah. You talk about how like what we are normally is calm and happy and peaceful. And I've started to notice, as my meditation practice has evolved over the years, that some of the most pleasurable experiences of my life have actually been in meditation.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is really a kind of a paradigm shift, because you ask anyone on the street, or me, years ago, if you asked me, what are the most pleasurable experiences? I'm going to tell you about, the best day I had skiing, or, the most amazing trip here or there, or whatever it was. But I've now found that there's actually, if you ask me now, I'll tell you some of the most pleasurable experiences were when I'm sitting, needing nothing, getting nothing, doing nothing, and finding inside myself this bliss and this pleasure that we're always outside looking for.
Yeah, I love a quote by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who says, no one needs to suffer because there's an ocean of bliss within each and every one
An
of
ocean of
us.
bliss.
And,
I've had those moments where,
yeah.
oh my God, this is there's no experience that I've ever had outside of,
Mm.
that can, and we're always out looking. And I'd heard a quote similar to that where there was this yogi that told the story about this man who sat on a box, a wooden box for 20 years begging, just begging for scraps for anyone who walked by for 20 years, and then somebody walked by and said, "What's in the box that you're sitting in?" And the guy said, "I don't know. I've never looked." And he goes, "Well, take a look." He opens up the box, and the box is full of diamonds.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like we're out there begging for scraps from everyone and everything, drugs or food or money or whatever it is, and we're sitting on this ocean of bliss,
Absolutely.
and to tap into that. And I love the fact that you're teaching people to tap into that. You talk about the stillness effect. That's a big part of what you do in your Stillness Project. I wondered if you could tell me a little bit about what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's a lot of I see in the world a lot of people getting attached to their techniques, and even myself get I have to be careful I don't get proud of the technique
Yeah,
or brag about the technique. And really the technique's just a modality that's enabling you to access a state, and that state is deep rest or stillness. And it's in that state that the body starts to do what it's just simply designed to do, and that's reorganize and repair and restore balance. I mean, look at your world. It's amazing how much your world has
yeah,
changed as a result of accessing a particular state. Now, the meditation is just one of the vehicles that are out there, and there's lots of different types of meditations and lots of different vehicles. But really, it's the state that allows the body to do what it's designed to do. The body has the riches, the body has the jewels, the body has the diamonds in it, the body has the bliss and the calm and the lightness. We just got to find a way to get the body in a state that's going to allow it to reorganize itself. So the stillness effect is the effect that happens when we go into that space of stillness. I just found that technique that I discovered was one of the most effective ones for me to get into that state so I could reorganize, or my body could reorganize itself and optimize itself. So that's really, really what the stillness effect is. Just find your vehicle, find your tool that's going to be most effective for you to get you into stillness so
yeah.
that your body will then do what it's designed to do, give you that wow bliss experience.
And what would you say to people who say, "I can't meditate, I can't get into that state. My mind always wanders, and
Yeah.
I'm not able to relax." And like, what would you say to people like that?
It's funny. I get a lot of people just jump in and just embrace it wholeheartedly when I run courses and things like that. But a lot of people have some resistance, and I think the problem is a lot of people aren't treating it with the respect that they need to treat it with. You don't try and fix your tooth if you've got a toothache. You don't try and fix your shoulder if you've got a shoulder problem. You go to a professional, you get professional help, and because you see the importance of it, and you're willing to make an exchange from that professional for the assistance that they're giving you, the dentist, the physio, the chiropractor, the doctor, the plumber, the electrician. The most important thing we have is our mind. Everything we decide is going to flow from our mental state, from our mind. And the brain is the most important piece of apparatus, you'd say, that's in the body. And so I would see a highly trained professional to teach you how to go into these states. Just trying to wing it, trying to sit in a chair, trying to empty your mind, just reading a book. I mean, do a course, do a program, get someone that you resonate with that's skilled and qualified in the realm of consciousness, the mind and the brain, and teaching meditation, because meditation is not about just sitting there and emptying the mind.
Yeah.
What's the point of that? It's about what are going to be the ramifications? What is going to be the effect? What are going to be the changes that are going to happen to you, your body, your life, your nervous system as a result of going into this state? So you need to learn, first and foremost, how to do it. Secondly, you're going to need some support along the way while you go through the changes, because if nothing's going to change as a result of you doing it, what's the point of doing it? So if things are going to change as a result of you doing it, you might need some support along the way, because your relationships are going to change, your work environment's going to change, your health's going to change. There's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be a result of you meditating, and having some professional support along the way is going to be really critical, because a lot of people get very confused in those days of meditating.
I think you're right about people, about us in general as a society not taking it serious enough. And I think it speaks to a deeper problem that we don't take the risks and the damage associated with stress and living a stressful life serious
Yeah.
enough. We almost kind of glorify it. Oh, I'm so full on, I don't have time for
Mm.
that. And that somehow we equate that with being productive. But the reality is, when you really understand how stress hormones cause you to gain weight, how they can cause all kinds of diseases, how they basically stop the body from repairing itself because you're in this chronic
Yeah.
stressful state, you realize how important, it's probably the most important thing you can do, is take serious your
Yeah.
ability to get to calm your body, re-energize your body, and
Mm.
then it permeates to every aspect of your life. As you and I both know, it permeates. It's your health, it's your relationships, it's your life, it's your career. It permeates everything because this energy that comes through gives you clarity, it gives you focus, it gives you inspiration, and enables you to achieve pretty much anything you want. So to me, it's the most important thing you can do. And I think you're right. People to just put it aside. Yeah, I'll get to it. Whatever. I got more important things to do. To me, there's nothing more important.
Yeah, look, I just my mission is to debunk a lot of the myths and
Yeah.
the illusion about meditation and what it is out there. You know, I get constantly comments saying, "Why don't you just give it away for free?" It's like, well, you know, there's so much more than just teaching a technique. You know, I studied this for 10 years, you know, and did a lot of in-depth, you know, programs to get where was to teach people how to meditate. It's just not a flippant thing that you just start, you know, trying to empty the mind and see what happens. It's a process of changing consciousness, and there's so much more to it than that, and it's really important people understand. And also how much money we spend getting stressed. You know, we're so happy to spend a lot of money getting stressed on drugs and drinking and, you know, doing crazy things getting stressed. And then we spend a lot of money trying to manage the imbalance that comes as a result of that stress, you know, on doctors and physios and therapists and pharmaceutical drugs. You know, 40% of Americans are currently on pharmaceutical drugs at the moment.
Yeah.
I dread to think how much money they're spending on that. You know, they're multi-trillion-dollar industries. And Dr. Bruce Lipton from Stanford University Medical School said that 95% of all sickness is a result of stress.
That's a really powerful statement.
It's huge, right? It's massive. And you can see that in society, you know, how much stress is impacting the decisions we make and our well-being. And so spending a small amount of money on getting properly trained in the eradication of stress from your life, and you know, your and my life has changed dramatically as a result of meditation. Our health and well-being has predominantly been a result of meditating. So for me, it's just the best money I've ever spent in my life.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your mission, the Stillness Project. What is that about?
Well, we want to bring meditation we want to inspire 1 billion people to meditate daily. So that, you know, a couple of tangible points there is 1 billion. We've got a big target, and we really, you know, everything we do is about inspiring people to sit in meditation on a daily basis. And daily is really important in that tagline, because we just see that the level of overwhelm and stress in the world today, meditating once a month, once a week, once every few weeks, it's just not going to cut it with the level of overwhelm and stimulation that we're going through in the world. So we see daily, and preferably twice daily, as a key to what we want to inspire people to do.
I agree with you. Daily is so crucial, because that's how it becomes a habit. That's how you become addicted to it. So I would say for me right now, and maybe for you too, like I'm addicted to meditating. You know, I have to meditate. It's not something that I go, oh, maybe I should, or I'll get to it. It's like I can't wait to wake up and sit and meditate. There's so much bliss and power and calmness. It comes into my body. But I find that doesn't happen unless you're doing it daily. If you're doing it weekly or every couple of days, it never becomes that habit, and then you never ever get the real benefits. It's like weightlifting. The more you do it, the stronger you get. It's with meditating. If you do it every day, you get into this place where your meditations just become so much deeper.
And it just gets easier, I think, as well. You know,
and more pleasurable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, can you just give us an example of what it feels like to get into a pleasurable state? You know, into that calm, kind of still state. I know that you teach a very specific type of meditation, which we'll talk about in a minute, but just to give people a sample of what it's like to feel that kind of stillness, dude.
Yeah, I mean, one we do just with our kids at night time. You know, it's such a simple technique, and you know, I've done this in large corporations with, you know, 100 people in a floor, and you know, it never ceases to amaze me how effective this can be, particularly in a big group of people. And you know, it's a concentration meditation, and we'll talk more about the different types of meditation in a minute. But this one is where we're going to concentrate on one particular point. We're going to use a bit of force to do that. So it's something the mind doesn't enjoy doing. It's not something that the mind really relishes. Because the mind's looking for something that's charming, it's looking for something that's entertaining, and it's, loves to think about lots of different things. And that's where the mantra comes in. It's going to be a simple, effortless, charming process to repeat a mantra. But what we're going to do in this technique is we're going to concentrate and get the mind to focus on one single point, which is the air moving through the nostril. And what we'll notice is as we observe the air moving through the nostril, it's the effortless breath that the body requires coming in and out. You'll notice there's a slight cooling effect around the rim of the nostril. And I'll take us through a little guided meditation with this right now, where people can use this anywhere, whether it's on a bus, just at the end of the day, before bedtime. And it just really helps de-excite the nervous system, calm the body and calm the mind. So if you want, we can do maybe a couple minutes on something like this.
Let's do it. Love to.
Okay. All right. So if we just sit and close our eyes, and you can just sit comfortably in your chair. You don't have to be cross-legged or lotus or anything like that, just as long as you're comfortable. And you just notice that there's a natural ebb and flow of the breath moving in and out of the body. And it's an unforced movement of air. It's just, you don't have to think about it. It's not forced. It just moves in and out effortlessly. And as it does that, you'll notice that it moves through the rim of the nostril. And as it passes through that rim of the nostril, you'll notice there's an ever so slight cooling of the skin around that rim of the nostril. And that's the air just brushing the moisture on the skin and just slightly cooling the skin. And we're just going to keep our awareness on that single point. And the mind will run away into the future, into the past. It'll get bored on that single point. So we just keep bringing it back. Every time it wanders away, we bring it back to that single point. It's just an unforced, effortless process, just keeping the attention on that single point, the rim of the nostril, slightly cooling. We surrender everything about the future and the past, and we just come to this single moment. An effortless breath moving in and out of the body. Just a little bit longer now, keeping the attention on that single point. And now just letting go of the meditation and slowly opening the eyes. And that's just a really simple process that we can go into at any point in time during the day. And yeah, it's just, there's a guided one of that on our website, which they can always access it and just have it in their phone and listen to it any time as I guide them through that process. But it's It's very, very simple.
Yeah. So for me, you can feel like an instant kind of feeling of calmness that comes over you the second you start doing it. And then the other thing
Yeah.
is that you mentioned, that how the mind is always going to want to look for something more interesting. It's almost like there's like a subtle rebellion that goes on, like the
Yeah.
mind wants to find something else to do, and it's always going to keep doing that. And so there's this process I notice of this having to keep coming back to it, and then the mind goes away, and I have to like
Yeah.
keep pulling it back. Do you find that? Is it a lot of people say that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like putting a little 4-year-old boy in a corner and saying, "Just sit there and don't move."
Yeah,
He's looking for something. He's distracted, and
yeah,
he's looking for something to play with. So he will move, and if we give him a Game Boy, he'll sit there for hours, and that's where the mantra comes in. And we can talk a bit about that now, how the mantras work, if you want.
yeah. Let's talk about that. So you've got a very specific type of meditation that you practice and you teach. I'm wondering if you can tell us about that.
Yeah, with our world, Western society, we're naturally requiring our mind to be very stimulated every day. We have to process a lot of information. We're not in a monastery in Tibet. We're not just doing some veggie gardening and meditating all day. We're actually reading emails. We're navigating traffic. We're on social media. We're going on public transport. We're in meetings. So we have to have a very active mind, and that's 50, 60, 70,000 thoughts every day. And so when we just sit and we say to the mind, "Hey, just don't think," the mind's like, "What do you make up your mind? Like
Yeah,
you've been asking me to think all day, and now you're
yeah,
telling me not to think."
yeah,
And the mind finds that very challenging. So to sit and just suddenly empty the mind or just focus on one thing can be quite an uncomfortable, friction-filled experience. You have to, like I said, in that practice, you have to use some force to get the mind to do something it doesn't want to do. And where the mantras come in, they make this process very effortless and very easy. Because the mind is looking for something that's charming, when we introduce these particular sounds or mantras, and they have a particular quality about them, they're not words, they don't have meaning, they just have a vibration to them. They're actually really charming for the mind. And the mind finds it a very simple and effortless process to repeat that sound inside your head. For example, I taught my daughter's year 5 class. There was 38-year-old kids in one classroom. And, it was the first session of the day, and the teacher asked me to come and teach them to meditate. And I taught them, how to meditate using this sound. And there was 30 kids just with their eyes closed repeating that sound, and they didn't move an inch for the entire time. The teacher was like,
amazing.
"God, how did you do that?"
Yeah,
And it was simply because we gave their minds something that was interesting, and that's the sound. So the sounds help the mind to move towards calmness through the repetition of that sound without force. It's not a forced experience; it's an effortless experience.
So how can we learn more about your classes, your courses, and the specific type of this mantra
Sure.
meditation? I know, like I watch you, I follow you on Facebook, and you're out, you're doing these retreats, and you've got these courses, and it looks very exciting. So what's the best way for us to connect with you?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's the program was only ever taught one way, and that was by sitting in front of the teacher. And it's such a beautiful, pure way of learning, to be at the foot of a teacher that's been trained and skilled in the art of meditation, and to learn through that. So we run weekend workshops here where people can come and do that through 4 sessions. And those 4 sessions are, getting your mantra and learning all the mechanics of the meditation, and why you're going to have certain experiences, what advanced states of consciousness you're going to get into, the best recommendations for getting the most out of your meditation. But what we found was that, when we were blogging and tweeting and talking about how this meditation changed my life, I had people all over the world, from
Yeah,
Canada and USA and Venezuela and Kenya, saying, "I've got anxiety, I'm depressed, you need to teach me this." And I'm like, "Well, this is the only way it's been taught." And people are like, "That's crazy, I need to learn this. You're going to deprive me of the ability to learn this technique." So I was in a sort of quandary of, do I just hold it back for the rich people in the eastern suburbs of Sydney so that they can learn from me, or do I make this available to the world? And it was quite a challenging time for me to sort of contemplate what I do here, whether I try and preserve the ritual of the tradition or make something available to the world now that we have technology that can do this. Because when I learned in 1996, there was no internet.
yeah,
There was no YouTube. There was no Facebook. There was no blogging, which is just a bizarre concept to think. And now there is. So we could make it available through videos. So we created a 21-day program called Faster, Deeper, Bliss, which pretty much teaches them the same technique of transcending style meditation using a mantra, and every day they get a video where they can learn how to meditate using those videos. Very intimately filmed, so it gives them the feeling that I'm right there with them, and I'm with them through each meditation, and I bring them into the meditation, I bring them out of the meditation in those videos, and give them some knowledge every day about that particular style of meditation. So if they don't want to learn from me, or can't afford or can't access me here in Bondi or in Sydney, then there's always that option of learning it online through our Faster Deeper Bliss program.
And where do we access this, and just information?
Yeah, they can go to
stillnessproject.com.
Is pretty much the hub for everything. There's a store there, stillnessproject.com/store, where they can find all the meditations, our products, our ebooks, and anything that they want to access. There is all in stillnessproject.com.
And you mentioned the meditation that we just did is available at your site also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's called the Gentle Breath Meditation.
Okay.
And that's a 10-minute guided meditation, and that's like $9. They can access that.
Excellent. Okay. And so, what else is coming up? Are there any projects you're excited about that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, we've got a lot of things happening. It's really exciting. 2016 is going to be a big year. We're just about to relaunch Inner Sanctum, which is a monthly Google Hangout mentoring program. It's like $9 a month, and people can access this all around the world to help with their meditations and life in general.
Awesome.
Zen Academy for Transformational Leadership, which is a 12-month mentoring program to help people become those transformational leaders and to really step up in their jobs and in their career and in their life purpose, in their passion, and find that voice, find that consciousness inside them that is going to change people's lives. And, we're really seeing some exciting things happening with people out there wanting to go to that next level and be the next John Gabriels of the world. And we've got retreats as well. So we've got Bali and Byron Bay again next year. So
excellent.
That's awesome.
Excellent. Tom, I love the work that you're doing, and I love your vision, because you get 1 million people to meditate on a daily basis. You're going to change the world forever, and you're looking to reach 1 billion people. And I think at the rate you're going, you're definitely going to reach that, and that's going to change the world, because you've got 1 billion people that are more conscious. They're making more conscious choices about the type of products that they buy. So maybe they're buying more organic, and the type of energy that they use. So maybe it's more solar, and you become more sensitive toward animals and human rights, and basically you're changing the world in what you're doing. And so I love the work that you're doing, and I appreciate you spending some time with us and sharing your message with us.
Thanks, John. It's been great to be here.
Thanks very much, Tom.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. So as you can see, meditation is an extremely powerful technique that can help you get from a place of chronic stress and all the negative effects of stress to a place of calmness, success, health, and vitality. It's a simple technique, and it's available to us all the time. All we have to do is learn it and sit and practice. So I encourage you to go to Tom's site, thestillnessproject.com, learn about the meditation techniques that he's doing, and meditate and love it, just like I have and so many of our students. So I wish you complete happiness, bliss, and joy in your meditation, and I'll speak to you real soon. Take care.